There are places where the price of housing never goes down. Little bubbles that no matter what's happening in the rest of the world, they're always going to be in demand. Or even the demand is going to increase. While in Spain, we have economically depressed areas or areas that just barely cope beyond the big cities. Today I want to talk about a very safe and very profitable investment. But like a video game, it only unlocks once you have the ability to buy at least a €2 million property. Or have a lot of friends who want to invest with you. Contrary to what the internet has led you to believe, not everyone starts in real estate investing from scratch. And I understand why that message is sent, because there are a lot more poor people than rich people, and us, content creators, want to reach as wide an audience as possible. But what if you already had the capital to play at the next level? To move up a league? What if you could already invest in real estate? In Ibiza? Whenever I go to a place, when I travel or go to another city, the first thing I ask is, what is life like here? What's the main economic engine of the area? What do people live on? For instance, last month in Sardinia, which is a video I plan on releasing soon, the clear answer for at least a large part of the island was pastoralism, agriculture, and livestock. In the case of Ibiza, the answer is clearly tourism. In other words, 92% of the land is agricultural, but 90% of the GDP comes from tourism. We have an island that's saturated in July and August, and it's a paradise on earth in the low season. And the consumption by tourists per day is around €100. But of course, this includes those who come for the San Antonio-style party scene, young people who don't spend much on accommodation, they spend it all on drinks. And also the people who come here in July or August and spend millions, in other words, huge amounts of money. For example, right now Jeff Bezos and his new boat are here on the island with us. In the off-season, of course, everything is much cheaper. We have everything from hostel rooms and guest houses down there at the back of Ibiza for €50 or €60 a night to hotel rooms between €1,500 and €2,000 a night. In the high season, July and August here, it's a completely different story. In other words, Ibiza is an island of contrasts. We have the mess in Marina, Ibiza, and then we have the part behind Ibiza, the workers, the people who work here, the people thanks to whom the services get ahead, from garbage collection to police officers who during the summer have to come from other parts of Spain to provide service on the island. Okay, so this is not just going to be a travel blog, but we want to analyze it from an economic point of view and from a business opportunity. Let's now look at some villas. We stayed in 2 villas while we were here. We know approximate prices and have come to the conclusion that for less than 1.8 million, there is nothing worthwhile. All interesting assets start from that price, which is a bit of a testament to the inflation that the island is suffering from. So, on the cusp of a crisis, buying at the height of the wave, perhaps as an investor, might be a bit of a mistake. On the other hand, Ibiza is a bubble, in the sense that the rules that apply in other parts of Spain, it doesn't apply in such a small place with so much demand. In this case, it would be to invest in this apartment, buy it, rent it out normally, yearly, which we'll be able to look into now, and that we'll see when we visit the apartment and apply for the tourist license. That's where the fact that it's Ibiza comes in. In the end, Ibiza has a very small percentage of the island developed. A percentage of the island that can be built on is very limited. That's what Andorra reminds me of, because at the end, the size is very small, and the houses are what they are. Until they approve that new ones will more be made, it may take a while. I always say that investing in Andorra, even if it didn't give you great returns, would be a bit like investing in Bitcoin. That there is a limited number of Bitcoins, and in the future, whoever wants one will have to take it from someone else. That is, buy it from someone else. It will not be able to be purchased on the open market. I think Ibiza is going in that direction. That's why I think it's interesting to explore the different investment opportunities that the island offers. Small town. What year was the estate built? At least, right? It's quite large from what I can see. We have to enter this way. We've been all the way around. How long have you been constructing this flat? How many square meters does it have? Okay, and an apartment like this with these characteristics here, so close to the marinas, the beach, and all of this, how much could it be rented for if it were renovated and on the side? Maybe. Okay, that's $2,500 per month, easy. And what kind of clients have rented flats similar to this that you have? foreigners and clients from Spain too, to spend the summer also, or all year round. A major renovation which gives value to the property. And here in the Balearic Islands, the price always goes up in the future. Always. I've been here for 3 years and properties have tripled in price, and even more in areas like Marina, Botafogo. What is the owner's association fee that they're paying for these renovations? How much does it come to? Maybe one of the reasons why the owner is selling this is because they don't want to face the costs that are going to come. You said that tourist licenses are not given. Right now, having one is like having gold. And these houses with a tourist license, what profitability would you be managing? Because in summer here, the weeks go into the tens of thousands of euros. A house paisa, it all depends. But anyway, nowadays a 6-bedroom house rents for between 20,000 euros a week or so in season. But to make a 6-bedroom villa, we are talking about 3 million euros easily.
Yes, more or less. Now let's take a look at an apartment that I noticed was for sale when we arrived by ferry, and that seemed like a pretty cool area to rent to someone young. Obviously, we are talking about annual rentals, not seasonal rentals or holiday rentals, because the island's policy is completely prohibited. Although returns would be interesting if it were possible, they do not have a tourism license, which functions in a very specific way in the Balearics. And with the administration being saturated, there is a moratorium. They won't give you any licenses. There are people who have been waiting for years, so that isn't a legal option. And remember that always, even if you could imagine doing shady stuff, I always recommend doing things with business models that are sustainable. Well, we've just seen a property in that building over there, which is right next to the Pacha Hotel, which is right across from Pacha Pacha. Even so, this area seems very interesting to me. And now we're going to see a slightly larger house right at the end. Well, now we're going to see a house that is in the Talamanca area, right next to the ferry. It's a house that seems quite large. The price is a little under 1.5 million euros. And it's on the front line, so to speak, of the ferry. In other words, you can see the sea when these giant ships, like the Virgin cruise ship, don't cover it. That land in front of you, well, it has some advantages, such as being next to the marinas, the area, and the Hotel Corso is right behind it. Follow me, let's see it. Okay, this is what we were looking for, that it had a tourist license, because that can increase profitability a lot, especially if it's already paid for and is already definitive, as we have been told. Well, it's the first time you've been here too, and someone does live here. We see that there's a kitchen that's quite acceptable, isn't it? It's also old. Yes, this is the garage entrance, I didn't tell you. And now we see that there are other pretty cool apartments down here. The house needs renovation, especially these two parts here, which look like a pretty cool low apartment. You've got the marina, you've got the mess, it's not far away, there's Marina Ibiza. Hotel Pacha. Yes, Hotel Pacha, that's where we come from. You have to know that here, the people party. Of course, so it's quite a party area, and it's an area of young people. We know this because the neighbor's dog was barking, and it's a pit bull, and from above, from the upstairs terrace, you could hear the neighbor's music as well. Anyway, it has its audience, and it smelled like the neighbor. Yes, let's not say what it smelled like. We also have these two stays here, which have a regulatory situation, because perhaps it is not completely clear, although it could be perfectly legal. And this pool, not of construction, but of plastic, a little more like this, that whether you turn it into a real pool, which is something that could be done, or if you remove it, then it is one more cost. Well, we're looking at this villa, which is quite interesting. Or at least interesting for someone who hasn't yet seen many properties here in Ibiza, and we're realizing, just like it happens with other developments, possibly those rooms downstairs we saw earlier might not be registered as they should. That poses a future risk to the investor regarding potential regulatory issues. Just something to keep in mind, and it could also be a potential negotiation tool with the property owner, because buying this house, or if your company buys this house, you're accepting possible fines or the possible consequences of having these types of works as if you had done them yourself. Negotiation tools. What tools or negotiation power do you have when what you want is highly sought after and the seller knows it? This average apartment in need of renovation was priced over 400,000 euros, and significant additional costs were expected in the years to come. And it wasn't even facing the sea. It was facing the other way. And you know what? It was cheap. One of the cheapest I found on the island. It was cheap because they can ask whatever they want. When you have an asset that's so valuable, not because of the asset itself, but because of the surrounding area, the region, the island, the brand, the branding, they know that sooner or later someone will come along and pay for it.
In Ibiza, the price of housing has practically never stopped rising. Where other areas were in crisis, Ibiza has doubled the value per square meter in the last 10 years. Sure, the price per square meter is relative. It can be something that needs renovating or not, usable or built with or without a terrace. But in any case, Ibiza has been an aspirational place to live, but especially to vacation, for the past 50 years. And something that has retained its value and increased it for so long is likely to still be true in 20 years. On this island, three worlds meet. Lifestyle shopping, people buying houses there because they want to live there. Investors buy there because they want to get high returns. And the mighty Spanish tourism giant. A coveted investment within the reach of very few in the pearl of the Mediterranean. How do you get hold of a piece of that limited space that's becoming more and more valuable? Well, either you have the money to buy it yourself, or more commonly you team up with several partners at Porte Capital, and it's the company that buys the asset and manages it. It sounds much easier than it is. Subscribe to the Max Magister newsletter if you want to increase your flow of information about investment opportunities in various countries, including Ibiza. You'll have access to exclusive investment opportunities, detailed analysis, and you'll find out what's happening, market trends in other countries around the world. Like us if you like this video, and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments what you think, what your impressions of Ibiza have been from your time on the island. And if you want me to release the video about Sardinia soon, see you in the next one. Ciao! Subscribe.